my idea was just going to build like spring and summer, get as fit as I can, do some shorter races, recover, and then build back up for a fall marathon. So I did like several like little tune-up races in February and March, like a 7.5 mile race around a lake. That was my first race at like the end of February. And it was probably like 30 degrees out and super windy, like the type of race that, you're not going to have like a PR race, but you're just there to get a race under your belt and, get it done. And same thing, like just shaking out the cobwebs, figuring out, well, what is my actual race pace, right? Like I've been doing all this training, but how is that going to translate to racing? And, I pleasantly surprised myself with the pace that I ended up doing. It was a little faster than what I thought I was going to do. And, that's all you can really hope for with your first race of the year. So I did a second race the following weekend that was just like a 5 miler that had a few hills. It was a really small race, so I ended up basically by myself the whole time. But same thing, like, because as you're building your fitness, you don't really know like what you're capable of, right? Like you have to go off of effort. And that's how I raced on the bike. Like in cycling, we have power meters that really help us dial in our effort. But I really don't like racing looking at my power meter because it's too much information for me. Like I always preferred to race based on feel rather than like hitting a number, because let's say you're in the middle of a race and you look down and your power is lower than you expected, but you're dying. Like that doesn't help you. It just makes you feel worse about yourself. And if you're in the middle of a race and you look down and your power is higher than you expected and you feel good, well, you're not going to slow down. You're just going to keep going because you feel good and it feels appropriate. So in running, we have the stride power meter. I tried that and I can't say I really felt like it was anywhere near as useful as a cycling power meter just because it's measuring two totally different things. In running, we really have to learn to listen to our bodies and like run by effort, which is what you talked about. Like you spent all last year running by effort, because these goal paces that our coaches give us or training plans give us, they're based on like racing in an ideal conditions, meaning like no wind, temperature around 50, no hills. And I've never done a race like that. I don't know about you. No. So
maybe an indoor track. No. But never outdoors. Yeah.
So, even with running, so many people take like their goal paces as gospel and like get upset if they're like 2 seconds per mile off. But pace, your body doesn't know pace. Your body knows effort. And sometimes your pace is going to be a little faster than you expect. Sometimes it's going to be a little slower. But the more you can just learn to trust your body and race by feel and train by feel, actually, rather than like just being dependent on what your watch tells you, the better a racer you're going to be for many reasons. One, your watch isn't always accurate, right? Like one of my friends' watches during a marathon, suddenly said she was doing like 15-minute miles, and she definitely wasn't. And it did that for, I think, the last 5 miles of the race for her. So she just had to run based on what she thought marathon pace was. And guess what? She ended up with like a 5-minute PR in the marathon. So sometimes we can't just rely on our watches, right? We've got to learn how to rely on ourselves. So this 5-mile race definitely helped me like get back into the feeling of, okay, what's the fastest I can go and make it to the finish line without dying, or like with dying at the finish line.